Welcome to Unmasking Government Schools with Sherry Few, US PI's weekly podcast that empowers parents to reclaim their children's education from government bureaucrats and social engineers. In each episode, Sherry delivers the latest news from the front lines of the fight for the minds of the next generation, equipping you with the tools and resources needed to join the cause.
Hi everyone, welcome to Unmasking Government Schools with Sherry Few. I'm your host, Sherry Few, and I have another great show for you today. I'm joined today by Tang Williams, a tireless warrior for freedom, especially freedom of speech, and someone who has been calling America to wake up before we slide all the way down the slippery slope toward total communists like her native China did during Mao's Cultural Revolution. Before I bring her on, please give us a 5-star rating or a thumbs up and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And visit uspie.org to learn more and join the movement.
Today's episode is brought to you by U.S. parents involved in education. U.S. PI's mission is to empower parents and local communities to break free from federal and national influences, thereby reclaiming parental authority over their children's education. For more insights from U.S. parents involved in education, connect with us at US PI on X and Facebook. To join the movement, visit uspie.org.
Welcome back to Unmasking Government Schools with Sherry Few. I'm your host, Sherry Few, and with me today is Tang Williams. She's the Republican candidate for the 2026 Republican nomination for the U.S. House of Representatives in New Hampshire's 2nd District. She grew up under Mao's brutal communist regime in China, experiencing food rationing, indoctrination, and oppression. After learning about America's founding principles, Lily courageously left China in 1988 to pursue freedom and opportunity in the United States. Since then, she has raised a family, built businesses, and dedicated her life to warning Americans about the dangers of socialism while championing liberty. She's also a speaker, writer, and longtime friend of US PI, featured in our documentary, Truth and Lies in American Education. Tang Williams, welcome to the podcast.
Great to see you, Sherry. Thank you for keep fighting. And we're in this together to save our country.
Amen. Amen. So good to have you on, Lily. But before we dive into our conversation, I'd like to play a short clip from our film for those who are not familiar with your story. Here it is.
I'm Tang Williams. I was born in China to illiterate working-class parents, suffered under Mao's Cultural Revolution and the communist dictatorship. I wanted freedom. America was my promised land.
Tang Williams is a former Chinese lawyer. She explained to me that what's happening in America now is the same thing that she saw back then.
I was born 2 years before Mao's Great Cultural Revolution. I was born in Sichuan province, Chengdu. That's my hometown city. By the time I went to first grade, it was in the middle of the Cultural Revolution already. Every morning we have to do chanting, like long live Chairman Mao, long live Communist Party. I would tell people it's so funny, we're supposed to believe Karl Marx. I mean, he was not even Chinese, he was a Westerner who started the communism. And we were so brainwashed that when you die, you go to say Karl Marx, a foreigner, not even Chinese ancestors. So if you look at Taiwan, Hong Kong, who were never under communist rule, they actually preserve more Chinese culture. But my education only taught me communism. I'm concerned about today what's going on in American schools is the curriculum and standards, and there are promoting outcome-based education, workforce development, and also the data collection, tracking without parental consent. So I feel like, are we going back to kind of like China? People don't like communist China, but what we're doing are going down that direction. You need a very strong constitutional protections. Instead of, I belong to Chinese group, you belong to white group, he belongs to black group. You're talking about politics according to skin color identity, which is what Mao wanted, divide and conquer. We divide people into groups, workers, peasants, intellectuals, and soldiers. Then black and white, black and red, they fight against each other. Guess at the end, who wins? it's the tyrants in your country, dictators win. Because when you people are busy fighting against each other, Republicans, Democrats, middle or whatever, you all lose. You know, our common enemies, I keep telling people, it's not our fellow citizens. It is people who stay behind iron curtains and jerk your chains on your neck. There are lots of importances we should be focused on, but instead of we're not focused on, and our students every day in school is talking about all the social issues. How come they don't talk about fundamental, most important issues is our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our property rights, our privacy. I'm trying to convince the American public and the students, you want free stuff, you want free education, you want the government to provide you like your parents. But look what you're paying for it with what? With your lifetime enslavement. You lose your individual rights and freedom, privacy and parental rights and parental control in order to get some free stuff. It's not worth it.
So, Lily, you make some very powerful points in that clip. Most timely is what you said about how Americans are constantly being pitted against one another by those who want to divide and conquer. Charlie Kirk, someone who for years sought to bridge that divide among young Americans by open debate on college campuses, was publicly assassinated just a few days before we recorded this episode. This is a horrifying example of how radicalized this generation has become. What do you think Charlie Kirk's killing means for free speech in America and for those of us who boldly stand for truth?
I think his brutal murder, assassination, even celebrated by some people on the left, is a wake-up call for our country. I have been warning Americans about this indoctrination through divisive media, the biased teachings in schools, and the politicians who demonize their political opponents. As Americans, we have so much in common, and we should all come out publicly condemn the political violence. We are better than that. We are not like a communist China. They are still doing that today. If you are a political opponent against Escapee, against Xi Jinping, you disappear, you get locked up. And Charlie was a great champion of free speech and civil discourse and open debate. He died doing what he loved, engage with students. And I hope that his death will wake up millions people, especially young people, to follow him and to start U.S. turning point in schools, in colleges, even in high schools called Club America. I think this is a spiritual, ideological war. I just shared this morning on my X account, Lily for Liberty, talk about this young student. She adores Chairman Mao's quotations, like free speech is not for the enemy of the people. She sounds like a totally brainwashed Red Guard, which is a radicalized youth by Mao to do his political violence that led to 20 million people died in China. But sadly, our students, even our just regular people in the middle, they don't know this part of history because schools are not really teaching our kids real history anymore. If parents don't have deprogrammed sessions at the dinner tables every night with their school kids, then our kids really just believe whatever they were fed in schools and by Marxist professors in colleges. So I really wanted to warn people from my personal experience that it is a typical communist tactic to divide people. And Mao did that, oppressed against oppressor. 5 red classes hate 5 black classes, which is categorize Chinese people into those 10 classes. And at the end, everybody was enslaved. And I hope that my stories can open some eyes. And I'm ready actually to go to college campuses, to go to high schools, and to communicate, to educate, and to, open people's minds and heart.
So, yes, that reminds me of the similar path that you were on, and even before Charlie Kirk, probably. You were visiting, when I first met you, you were visiting high school campuses and college campuses. I remember you came to my state one time in South Carolina and met with several school campuses there. So there's a similarity between what Charlie was doing and what you have been doing, warning young students about communism. And so are you still doing this? And what motivates your passion to educate youth about protecting freedom?
I believe education is the key. You see, lots of our youth today are not capable of independent-minded thinking. They believe in government, they believe in legacy media propaganda, and they believe in politicians' rhetorics, and they hate. That's what the communists do. They always want you to hate and to be jealous of the another side. If they're, it's classical, actually. Marxism is between haves and don't haves. But the cultural Marxism they use now is divide people through, race, the color of their skin, the political ideology, and the gender. So we were fighting against CRT during pandemic, critical race theory. Then later it evolved into DEI. And now DEI might change it to another name. And now we have a transgenderism, and we have the Democrats and thinking that the illegal immigrants are the also newly oppressed group. We got to spend lots of time and money to keep them here. So it's constantly involving so-called the oppressed group. It's a traditional identity politics used by communists, not just in China by Mao, but by lots of other countries too, that if the ordinary people unite for their own freedom, for their own rights, I don't think those tyrants can achieve anything. So it is clear to me they must control the mind of the youth through controlling of the education, centralized education with some kind of centralized agenda and curriculum. And we saw that's what happened, started under Obama through centralized education of a Common Core and through the collection of data, standards, testing, and use federal dollars to bribe states to adopt the federal standards. So I see that has led to generations of poor educated kids who think government is your savior, not our rights. Our rights come from our creator, from God, but they don't understand that. They think even Senator Tim Kaine said from Virginia, our rights come from laws passed by politicians like him and not from our creator. So it's like, how do we even have those people in Congress who don't understand fully about the Declaration of Independence, about the U.S. Constitution? Today is Constitutional Day. How many students are learning about Constitution today in schools? There's a severe imbalance of our colleges and public school districts, that the balance of different opinions and different perspectives. As a speaker for like a horror of communism, I have a hard time now to get into the colleges and schools to just teach students in a non-partisan fashion about horrors of communism. Only Florida Department of Education interviewed me and put my stories and in front of their K-12 schools. But my state, New Hampshire, could not even pass like a mandated, certain time to spend on educate kids about horrors of communism. We have lots of work to do in our country. I always feel very passionate about this issue because I have 3 children. They're going to have grandkids for us. And what kind of country they're going to live in. So I think this is a battle that I understand if people read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx, Engels, it's one of the pillars of communism is to control the education and the free education for all the youth. They know to control education means control the young mind and the heart, and it's control the country's future.
Amen. That was so well said, and you touched on so many things that we agree on here at United States Parents Involved in Education. I'll just touch on a couple of them just to reiterate that we're on the same page. You know, you and I both fought against Common Core, and that's actually the reason that U.S. PI adopted the mission to close the U.S. Department of Education and end all federal education mandates, because we know that that's where the majority of the nefarious pedagogies originate, like Common Core, and are incentivized with federal dollars. Exactly what happened with Common Core. And it's happened with so many other topics and subjects in schools as well. So I appreciate your passion and your concern, because here at US PI, we are also very concerned that if we don't stop the indoctrination of children in government schools, we as a country will lose our very freedom. So I so appreciate you. And I know that that's probably the reason that you've become a Republican candidate for Congress in New Hampshire. And so you're running for New Hampshire's 2nd District. And you've been political for some time now, but tell us about what inspired your leap into politics and what message are you bringing to your voters in your 2026 campaign?
I've been U.S. citizen for 35 years, and I always love this country, and I appreciate the opportunities I had in this country to be successful. And when I realized the country is changing for the worse, it was under Obama, and his gun control, his Common Core, his rhetoric, divisive racial politics. I feel obligated to get involved at a local level when I still lived in Colorado. And when I realized the Republican Party was also abandoning its small limited government principles and the bail out the banks, I left, even Republican Party. And I ran for office for Libertarian Party in Colorado because they wanted me to run to be line holder. But I actually campaigned seriously to get my messages out. Of course, I knew I could not win anything as a third party, and I was not effective to get into debate. So I went back to Republican Party to continue to speak around the country with the help of a victim of Communism and Memorial Foundation sponsorship. They sent me to lots of schools, including high schools, middle schools, and colleges. And some actually co-hosted by Turning Point USA, university chapters, and the Young Americans for Liberty. And after I did that for a while, and I saw the change in Colorado, I decided to leave for New Hampshire. After my last daughter went to college, my husband could retire earlier. We moved to New Hampshire 6 years ago. I registered Republican, immediately get into local politics. I always tell people I escaped China for freedomless country. I had to leave Colorado for a more freer state in New Hampshire. I run out of places to go. And I have to get involved immediately, and there's no time to rest. So during the pandemic, I was so scared to see the BLM riots and the cultural Marxism, critical race theory. Everybody was bending the knee, and white people apologized for being white, going through class struggle sessions. Sounds familiar to Mao's Cultural Revolution, changing names, top-down statues, and constantly obsessed with race instead of American ideals that bind us together. So I feel like I have seen the same thing before. I got to come out to warn people, and the best platform I could have is to wear a big hat by running for Congress and to tell people why I'm running. So my video about running for Congress 2022, it's got over 2 million views on X. And I talk about why I'm running, because I fear the country I love is becoming the country I left. So that, but of course, I did not win the nomination in 2022. I won the nomination in 2024. And my viral debate video got RFK's endorsement last year, 2 days before the election, because that's the only debate I had with my opponent, who is the wife of Jake Sullivan, Representative Maggie Goodlander. She did not live in New Hampshire for 15 years, just moved back to run for this open seat last year. But I did not have money for a single TV ad. That was the only debate chance I got. I destroyed her during the debate. If people watched the debate, they probably voted for me. But I did not have money for one TV ads or Google live stream on YouTube. I still won over 47% of votes. I feel my stories can connect with regular American granny staters here. And I'm authentic. I always tell people, check me out, and we can disagree respectfully on individual policies. But trust me, I'm going to represent you in DC. I'm not for sale. I will always tell you the truth. And those words, have, work well to connect with people. But of course, we need to work hard, raise money. And for 2026, I think I can win. According to the recent poll by UNH in June, our favorability is neck to neck with each other. And so I feel it's my duty. I feel I'm answering my calling. And I'm really praying that third time is charm, that I can make a history, not just for New Hampshire, but for America, for the people who are desiring for freedom in the entire world, that America and New Hampshire elect somebody who survived communism. And when CCP is growing influence all over the West, what stronger message we could send to CCP, to the People's Republic of China under dictatorship, that we elected somebody who survived, Mao survived the CCP dictatorship. This is a great country. I'm living American dream to prove it.
Well, that was excellent. And I hope that our audience today are also impressed, as I am, with your perspective and your passion and your priorities and your experience and how valuable that is to our country, especially to have you elected to Congress. So let's tell our audience what your website is, and hopefully we can help you raise more money so we can get those television ads this time.
Thank you. My website is lilytangwilliams.com, and you can go there to look at my 10 issues, and there's donation link with a mailing address. My quarterly filing cutoff is September 30th. I need a report to FEC how much money I raise, how much cash I will have. So I encourage you to go to donate. And as soon as you hear this message, and I also, for New Hampshire people, I have a volunteer sign up. I need a grassroots campaign and grassroots to show up and to help me to win. In my district, there are 166 towns. I also recommend all the big podcasters to help me to get the messages out. And I appreciate your interview today, but I need a lot more people. I'm willing to do podcast tour to have a long format, short format, and people trying to get me on Joe Rogan's and Megyn Kelly and and PBS, and I'm willing to go all the big podcasts with lots of audience to tell my messages. And I'm not going to believe in fair. Some people warn me, be careful after Charlie's murder. But I said, if we do not speak up, if we don't get activated, then Charlie Kirk would die for nothing.
Amen.
But we have to master our fear, especially churchgoers. Some are not registered to vote, and some still keep their head down. it's not time to stay on the sideline. I always warn people who go to churches, you know what the communists did after they took over China? They burned the churches down. They demonize all religions. And they make you come out, denounce God, denounce Bible. You cannot keep your head down, think everything will be over. Everybody who believes in God should register to vote now. That this is spiritual war. And Charlie is a great champion of free speech, open debate, and also believer of Jesus Christ and God. But look what happened to him. He did open lots of young people's eyes and minds. So I'm encourage people to register to vote, to get activated in your own communities, and to talk about the things that you have not been talked about in the churches. And every individual can make impact. So I'm asking all the patriots in the country to donate to me and ask all the people in my district in New Hampshire to sign up to volunteer. And we must save our country and we must save our youth. Otherwise, the other one who is going to carry on. So imagine what kind of country your grandchildren will be live under, that if you don't get active and try your best today and to save our American ideals, their culture, their values, and also to fundamentally reform our education system, that we have a lot of work to do. But I really appreciate your support. I feel I'm blessed by God in this country. And I'm very encouraged by what the people are telling me. So with your help and with everybody activated, I can for sure win and we can make history. But the most important, my cause is bigger than myself. It's not my one campaign. Regardless results of my campaign next year, I'm going to continue to speak up, continue to educate, continue to go speak at the conventions, the conferences. So I'm not going to stop no matter what.
Good for you. Never, ever, ever give up. Good for you. So we need to take a short break, but when we come back, I'd like to ask you about your priorities once you're elected. Don't go away. I'll be right back with my interview with Lily Tang Williams right after this. Do you support parental rights legislation? The Founding Fathers believed our rights were inalienable and given to us by our Creator, and that codifying them could make them a matter of public debate, which is why they hesitated to even draft the Bill of Rights. Today, many state legislatures are filing parental rights bills, hoping that this will empower parents. The truth is that parental rights cannot be surrendered to nor secured by the government because they did not grant them to us. Instead, we must act on our God-given right to protect and raise our own children. U.S. Parents Involved in Education's mission is to empower parents to break free from federal education influence. We do not support so-called parental Bill of Rights legislation. We support parents. Tune in next week for more insights from U.S. Parents Involved in Education and connect with us at USPI on X and Facebook. To join the movement, visit uspie.org. Welcome back to Unmasking Government Schools with Sherry Few. With me today is Lily Tang Williams, Republican candidate for the 2026 Republican nomination for the U.S. House of Representatives in New Hampshire's 2nd District. So, what are your education policy priorities if elected, Lily?
I totally support to ending Department of Education at the federal level, give back to the states, and give back to parents. We have to promote, protect parental rights and involvement. And they cannot treat the schools as babysitter centers. And they cannot not knowing what their kids are being taught. But in order to do that completely, we need not just executive order from President Trump to end Department of Education. We need the U.S. Congress to pass the law to repeal all the educational laws and mandates and passed in the past. And I know that the laws regarding Common Core under Obama still exist. They codified the Common Core. And we also need to control power of a purse. That the federal government, if they're going to give money back to state, and I also suggest them to not to have too much federal mandate to come with it, because a federal mandate can be also mean centralized control. And I even have a better suggestions that at the state level, we need to pass educational reforms, support school choice, more alternative options for parents, and let parents to decide what is best for their kids. So in New Hampshire, we passed the school educational freedom account. So they, at the state level, our dollars go with parents at the school of your choice. They can be homeschool, they can choose the private school, whatever choice they want to make. And Democrats always talk about choice, but they only talk about an abortion issue, but they don't talk about anything else, like a medical freedom choice, parental rights choice, and school choice, even choice to how to buy and sell food in our local state. That they believe in government, big government, socialism, and that's what the Democrats believe. You see what's going on in today's New York City, right? It's a socialist, potential mayor might be elected this November. We're trying to stop him. So I will suggest, advertise, there's already a bill proposed to completely dismantle Department of Education at the federal level. And we also need to send a message out. We stand with parents, and you are fundamentally responsible, and you are the one that are responsible for your kids' education, uprising their values. And lots of parents have given that up because they're busy, they're working, or they buy into, the kids belong to the villages, let the state to decide. So that's like talk about brainwash 2 generations already. So that would be my stand on education. I also totally want to focus on academic performance. I support potential trade schools. And why do kids have to spend lots of money, take student loans to go to 4-year colleges, and then later complaining about that, I don't have purpose in life, I'm heavily in debt. They don't even read the fine print when it comes to student loans. And I think that we need to let people know 4 years liberal arts college might not be answer for your future. We need to focus on that, hey, what is you want to do? And what is your passion? And the trade school is wonderful for you to make a decent living, to afford buying house and rent an apartment, to raise a family. And we need to absolutely passionately promote that to young people that American traditional ideals and values, and not destroyed by left indoctrination, by left rhetorics. They're trying to push still the DEI and transgenderism to our kids who are still minors. We need to absolutely stop that, because those people actually need our help, need mental health counseling most. But by cuddling to their issues, not offer real solutions and help, it's very sad to see those kids later become even more mentally ill and become even killers. You see how many already took violence and to kill people. We have seen enough. I blame that on school indoctrination. I blame that on divisive social legacy media, and also the politicians who want to continue to do the identity politics. It actually is hurting our young people they claim to help.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And in fact, what you just said is almost exactly what I said in my statement to the media regarding Charlie Kirk's death. I do. I blame the indoctrination of children. Teaching children to hate themselves and others, and then we're surprised somehow, and to be social justice warriors at all cost. That's how we're raising children in government schools, is to think that way. So I couldn't agree with you more. And when it comes to school choice, on your policy about school choice, let me just throw this out to you, and then I'd love for you and I later to have a one-on-one about this, because I've evolved on that issue, Lily. I used to also support school choice, but I'm with a group of activists around the country. There are many of us, people like Alex Newman, who was a great influence on me regarding this. We're concerned that when you put government money into private and home schools, it's going to destroy them, because if the regulations aren't there now, they will come. So we've actually proposed an alternative to that, which will also help parents to be able to afford the best choice for their children, and that is a tax credit through the federal government and through the state government. So we could double or more the current child tax credit for every parent who, when they fill out their income tax, they can just provide the Social Security number like they do now to get that child tax credit, and just check a box saying their children are not in government schools. And therefore, the family is able to keep more of their own money to be able to better afford alternatives. So again, you and I will talk more about that. I'd love to share with you how I've evolved on that issue. And yeah,
I like the idea. I'm absolutely supporter of a homeschool, because that I met some most talented and smart and very, very educated homeschoolers. I mean, some are like 2 or 3 years above their grade level. And I was, we have a very big homeschoolers network. Some of them refuse to take government money. And they say, Lily, it's not too expensive when you educate your kids with a homeschool curriculum. And then you build your own network of social activities and go to outdoors to do events and to have speakers. And the kids actually spend 2 or 3 hours on schoolwork. And then other time they spend outside, interact with each other, doing fun stuff. And kids who are getting used to that, they don't want to go back to any schools. And so homeschool kids are the most happy, I feel like, and smart kids. So I totally support that. I think that instead of government money coming in with strings attached, and I support that you decide what is best for your kids, and credit directly to parents who homeschool their kids, and easy and simple, no bureaucratic nightmare, no mandates, and I think that's the good way to go.
Yes, I agree. We believe that homeschooling is the best. It's the absolute best for the parents and the children. My daughter-in-law homeschools my grandchildren, and she tells me how rewarding it is. She just loves doing it. So let's take another short break. We've got more to talk about, but when I come back, I'd like to ask you 2 questions that I ask all my guests before closing the show. Don't go away. I'll be back with my interview with Lily Tang Williams right after this. Have you ever been subjected to one of those infamous 21-day challenges focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion? Corporations, government agencies, schools, and even churches offer these brainwashing tools. In response to this assault, U.S. Parents Involved in Education has developed a 21-day challenge to become a critical thinker, available today on our website. Our challenge will equip you with a deeper understanding of race and racism in the United States, and it will empower you to have more informed conversations with friends and family, especially your children. It's been said it takes at least 21 days to start making achievable changes in your life. So visit the resources page at uspie.org to take our 21-day challenge today. Tune in next week for more insights from U.S. Parents Involved in Education, and connect with us at USPie on X and Facebook. To join the movement, visit uspie.org. Welcome back to Unmasking Government Schools with Sherry Few. With me today has been Lily Tang Williams. She is the Republican candidate for the Republican nomination for the U.S. House of Representatives in 2026 in New Hampshire's 2nd District. Lily, I ask all my guests these 2 questions before closing the show. What concerns you most about what's happening in education today, and what gives you hope?
Well, that I'm very concerned the radicalization of our youth. As we mentioned, that school teachings, divisive social media, legacy media, and the politicians' rhetorics. I'm extremely concerned about colleges not a balanced viewpoint to be taught, presented to our kids. So I'm making suggestions for all the states, especially the red state, and the taxpayer-funded public universities, they need to have some kind of say in that, hey, how come professors, faculty, teachers are 95% leaning left? How come there's no balance of view? And the speakers from conservative side cannot get into college campus to speak without even facing backlash and bullying, and some shut down. That's a serious issue. That's why our college kids, how many colleges today and professors who have common sense to come out to condemn Charlie Kirk's assassinations and also celebrate by the left for his death? I'm calling all professors have the courage come out. All universities come out to condemn that. And what encouraged me is that I do see more and more young people are walking away from the left, are walking away from the Democrat Party, think they become radicalized and cult party by the left. And because of Charlie Kirk, and also more parents are involved through your organizations, through the Moms for Liberty and the local organizations. And I want also that all the grassroots to step up to keep young people close. Do not close door to them, even though they disagree with you. And it's like Charlie said, we got to keep talking. If we stop talking, that's when the violence happens. So he was a perfect example for us to follow. Keep talking. We need more speech, not less speech. We need more debate, not less debate. I'm challenging my opponent, Representative Maggie Gulander, to debate me on college campuses. She refused last year, and she cannot hide this year. So I'm challenging her now. Let's go to all universities in New Hampshire for the students, young voters, to decide who they trust to actually represent them in D.C.
That's awesome. Very good. So thank you so much, Lily, for joining us on Unmasking Government Schools with Sherry Few. Tell the audience again where people can follow you and support your campaign.
So besides my website, where you can donate, read my blogs, and watch my videos, lilytangwilliams.com, I'm very active on X.com as Lily for Liberty, and I have 258,000 followers. So I am becoming a voice people cannot ignore. And I hope people, more and more podcasters will interview me, will share my posts by regular followers. I'm also on Facebook, Lily for Congress page. And that page seems like it doesn't grow that many followers for some reason for years by Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, Lily Tang Williams. And that's connect to my personal Facebook, Lily Tang Williams. And I have my own YouTube channel. If you're not on social media, my YouTube channel is Lily Tang Williams with 18,000 subscribers. And you can see my consistency there. I've been warning people, tell immigrant stories like mine for years and years. And I urge more immigrants who survived socialism, communism, come out, regardless how scared you feel, regardless your English speaking abilities. We need you to come out to speak up now, to defend our new country, to prevent our country becoming, the country you left. So contact me, follow me there, and I appreciate you and support.
Thanks again for being on the show, Lily. And to our listeners, if you found today's discussion eye-opening, please share this episode with a friend, give us a 5-star rating, and subscribe to stay informed. You can connect with us on Facebook and X at USPI and visit uspie.org to join the movement. Until next time, I'm Sherry Few. Thanks for listening.
U.S. Parents Involved in Education is a nonprofit coalition dedicated to restoring local control of education and parental authority. By empowering parents to reclaim responsibility for their children's learning and encouraging states to move away from federal influence, USPI seeks to create a culture where parents are the primary decision makers in education and schools support families without the burden of federal mandates. If you want to start a state or regional USPI chapter in your area, please visit uspie.org and complete the brief questionnaire in the chapter section.